7 minutes is a short time to tell this story. 6? Oh, that's even shorter. That's even shorter. I know, right? I can go 10 if I want. Turn off the lights. So my journey in becoming an entrepreneur started when I was about 20. I started or took over a dry cleaning business. Didn't know what I was doing. So that led to me, after that closed, my community. I grew up in Cleveland. My community went to drugs, so nobody was putting clothes in the cleaners because they were getting high. So, but that's what I wanted to do at that time. I had that sense, and even before that, as a young man, really young, I wanted to own a shopping mall. Okay, that was my dream. I want to own the whole mall, not just a store, the whole mall, right? So that didn't happen. So the dry cleaners went away. I said, hey, what can I do to build my credit, because I'm still thinking about business. Went to the military. Not something that I wanted to do, but I learned to love it. I enjoyed it. And I was stationed in Fort Benning, and I started to promote shows. Now, in the military, I promoted shows as well. I promoted shows overseas, open mic nights, fashion shows. I was always into doing something. But when I got to Georgia, I started getting into comedy and promoting comedians, right? And some of the comedians that are great right now were starting out back then. So I was helping them out and putting them on shows and on the base and different clubs. But I was still in the military, and while I was doing that, I looked at it like, well, I can promote a show, but the club gets all the money. You know, I have to bring in the comedian, fly him in, do all these things, but I wasn't making any money. So years passed, got stationed in Colorado Springs. I think that was 91, somewhere around there. And still wanted to open a comedy club. So Looney's was gonna sell, then they changed their mind. Good thing they did. And so I kept looking. I got involved in the community, met a lot of people, started another company, a property management company. Not my passion, but I started the company anyway. We always remember that word, passion. I'll get back to that. Was on a planning commission, started to see the city grow. We were taking off before COVID. And I had made relationships with all the restaurants. And remember that word as well, relationships, okay? So I met everybody out here, and there's 3 things in business that you have to have when you're doing business with people. People have to know you, like you, and trust you, okay? And I covered all those bases, not because I was trying to, just because I like people, okay? 2019, 2018, I really started to look for a place for business to open up this comedy club. Went up to Denver to look at comedians, down here, look at the scene, because I was doing it in Georgia. So 2019, I got everything ready, and 2020 came, and what came with it? COVID. I mean, my business plan looked great, okay, before COVID. The city was growing, Olympic Museum, tourism, tourists coming. We're downtown, great location. And I found this location from a relationship, kind of, right? I came here, and I was up in Denver. I work in Denver, SBA. I work for the SBA, and I was at a restaurant, and the restaurant owner said, hey, I'm going to introduce you to my real estate broker because I'm looking for 4 plexes to buy in Colorado Springs. I said, okay, great. Met her, and he had told her I was looking for a location that had a kitchen, and she said, well, I know a location that has a kitchen in Colorado Springs. I said, well, where is it? She said, well, I can't tell you because you're not my client. I said, okay, well, where is it located? She said, well, it's east of Tejon. I said, well, duh, I'll find out, right? You gave me some info anyway, right? So I had my real estate broker come in and talk to the owner of the building's real estate broker. So this real estate broker I used to work with, okay? Again, relationships. So when I met him, I had a baseball cap on. I'm usually, have a suit on or something. He looked, Eric. I said, hey, what's going on? He said, you want this spot? You've been talking about this comedy club for 10, 15 years, okay? Relationships. Now, what does that say to the owner? This guy's not coming in to play around. This has been his dream, right? And he can relay that back to the owner of the building, which helps, right? That relationship. So, got in, started working, and COVID came, and it's like, well, COVID, pandemic, I'm like, it'll go away. It'll go away. Didn't go away. So I was down here every day, couldn't work because I was at, SBA, we shut it down, worked from home, which was a kind of a blessing. I would look outside, but it looked like zombie land. No one outside. And I started crying, like, this is gonna be terrible, right? But I had to keep going because, what? This was my passion. This was a perfect time, I thought. This was a perfect place. This is a perfect city. So yes. Oh, is it? Dang it.
I gave you the warning.
Oh, did you? I feel like my comedians. You gotta give me the light, right? Give me the light from the back.
So tell us about your passion.
Passion is comedy. Passion is people, and laughter, and that's what I enjoyed most. I'm not a comedian, but I respect what they do until they turn into divas, and I love the people that come to comedy shows. I mean, they're couples, they're ladies, they come to laugh and have a good time. And so I love that. I fell in love with that. That's why I wanted to open up the comedy club. Thank you. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
So not necessarily a question, just an accolades. When you were opening this place, we were looking for somewhere to move with 1 million cups.
Right.
And what was really cool was I sit down with you and you didn't even quite, you said yes.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't even know the details, you didn't know, but you knew that it was a community event, sponsoring and helping entrepreneurs, and a big accolade to you for that.
Well,
because
thank you.
I know you've invested a lot in this property, and you still do, and you're behind the community 100%, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us about the name 3E's.
I was trying to come up with a lot of different names, and I always look towards the future. Try to look towards the future for things, and trying to get my sons involved, even though they're 13 and 11. And so I came up with the name 3E's, which is for my name, Eric, Ethan, and Ian. It's my 2 sons. So I want to teach them business first. You go to college, but I want them to know how to handle a business and run a business and deal with people and understand what relationships are about and just meeting people. So that's how I came up with 3E's Comedy Club. And I didn't think there was another 3E's in the country, so yeah, that was it. Yes, sir.
So what is it like to promote comedy? How did you get into it, or what is it like?
It changed over since '91. Comedians now have managers and booking agents. They used to just have a road manager, right? And so in the industry, sometimes club owners wouldn't pay you. So that's why they went and got all the, the backing that they needed to get shows. So, and I understand that, but I forgot your question. What was I talking about?
So what's it like to promote?
Oh,
like, how do you...
it's a pain in the butt. Promoting, because they have all these people involved, I have to deal with all those people, whereas I used to just have to deal with the comedian. And we would make the deal, do a contract, and we're done. But now, it's just more to it. Some of the comedians that I used to deal with back in the 90s, I had them here already, and they would give me these writers, right? You guys know what a writer is? It's like what they want in the green room, right? And one of my buddies I had here, Rodman, he said, well, his writer was like, well, I want some veggie this keto diet, this and this. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. I know you didn't use keto, all this stuff, and you know what I mean? So as you get more famous, you want more stuff, right? And that becomes a pain because we have to take time to go get it. But for the most part, a lot of these comedians, they want to just do their, make people laugh. If it's 4 people or 400, they really want to come in and make you laugh. So, yes.
So I've seen you in action. I came down this past weekend and you were amazing to watch. Just how you talking about relationships and all that comes together. Walking in and seeing you just moving, like you took care of this place versus just your employees. It was something beautiful, man. I just wanted to state that you're doing a great job.
Well, I thank you, and I think you have to. If you're passionate and your heart's in it, you're going to be doing whatever you need to do. And I still have a job, which was kind of didn't work out for me because I worked for the SBA, so I couldn't get a loan from the SBA, which I didn't find out until the end. I was, what? Yeah, so that was kind of crazy. But I think you want everything to be right. You want to take care of the customer, and employees are employees. And I hate to, you have some good ones and you have some bad ones. But you can't let that go. You can't take the chance of letting that go. So you let them do their job, but you make sure that everything is taken care of. And that's what I try to do while I'm here, because it's a certain standard that I want to set. And when they see that, sometimes I'm working harder than they are, but hopefully that rubs off on them to say, hey, let's pick it up and get it done. So thank you. Yeah.
Was there a comedian that sparked your initial passion for comedy? Question.
No, I think my passion came the first time I got into comedy. I had a comedian. I was doing a contest trying to find a comedian that never, had done comedy before, and I met this guy that worked at a bank. So I would go around and listen to different people, and they would open for. They were opening for T.P. Hearns, I think it was at the time, or Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. You guys remember that guy? Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. Anyway, so I met this guy named Michael Prince, and he was really funny when I met him. So I brought him in, and he opened, and he wasn't ready, but he opened, and he did a good job. And after that, he continued to do comedy, right? I left Fort Benning, went a couple other places, and he always called me, and we kept in touch. And I had the opportunity to bring him back here. That was 26, 27 years ago, and he still was doing comedy. That's what I enjoyed. I gave him an opportunity to do comedy, and he continued to do it and loves it to this day. And that's what we try to do here with our young comedians, get them engaged and get them on that stage, even if it's for 7 minutes, to talk to a Tommy Davidson or talk to a T.J. Miller and see how they can grow. So that's what gives me joy, and motivation is to see these guys do well, and ladies. Yes.
So I know one of your passions is clean comedy. Is it tough today to find comics that are able, because it seems like some of them are way over on that side, sometimes is it tough to find those clean comics that keep the engagement of the audience?
Well, I wouldn't say that my passion is for just clean comedy, but I tell the comedians to start out there, because you can do so much more with a clean set than some of that. You can always come back to the other stuff, but start out with a clean set and learn that because you can do business events, meetings. You can do so many other things with that skill set. So that's why I like them to start out with the clean sets first. Yeah.
Do you find yourself while you're working enjoying the show still, or is it separate, completely separate?
It's separate. I go off while I'm running around, I go off of laughter. If they're laughing, if it's a pause, how hard is it continual? So I listen while I'm running around to see how they're doing. That's my gauge, kind of. Yes.
Do you want to share with
with us some of the other things that you do besides putting comedians on the stage on Friday, Saturday?
In, in this place, we do open mic nights, which are great. We're getting comedians that's coming in from Denver to get on an open mic. And an open mic is different from a pub or a bar, okay? When they come here, they really have to do their best because they know I'm watching in the back, right? And I like to hear them, and I encourage them to come back and do better. And I watch those shows I do watch because I like to see who's growing. So I watch those shows, and we have those every Wednesday night. We have one tonight, and they're just great. We do a off the cuff comedy on Thursday night, which is great as well. It's where the audience gives a comedian a subject, and he has 5 minutes to make that subject funny. So that's very challenging. We have improv here on the other side. They do shows here as well. Happy hour is coming. I don't think we're ready. I don't think City is ready for that yet. When it gets cold, you'll get in. You'll come on in and stay. You're outside now. We also do events for small business groups. We had a high school graduation party. Anything that has to do with the community, we try to work with people to get it done. We're a great location down here, and we don't charge a lot yet. But we just want the community to come in and have a place to downtown, and we want people to come, that's coming into Colorado Springs, to say, hey, I stayed in a hotel across the street. I went to the comedy club. It was a great place in Colorado Springs. We want them to take that back with them. You know what I mean? So when they come here, this is a place, if they come to the comedy club, they can take it back and say, it was a beautiful place when we had great service. And that's why I do all the running around, because I never know who's here, right? So, yeah.
I have a question. I want to talk a little bit more about the struggles, right? Getting butts in seats, booking shows, hiring great staff in the time that we're dealing with. What are some of the biggest things that you've had to overcome so far?
Funding, of course, because I couldn't get an SBA loan, which I thought I could. I'm still fighting that battle because I don't think that's fair, right? Employees, we had a great team in the beginning when we opened in September, and then everything shut down. You might as well say November and totally in December. So we lost a lot of employees. I think I have just 2 that started, or 3 that started with me back then. But employees are always tough because they have to look out for their families as well. So, and we try to work with them. I gave them a small bonus even though we didn't have anything here. And then we started hiring more people. So the struggle was, one, getting national comedians, big names, to come to Colorado Springs because they had never been here. This market is a C market. It's like a B market now for comedy and entertainment. So, calling people and talking to people like, well, we've never been to Colorado Springs. We always go to Denver, right? So that was a challenge. I knew people, so that helped. And so that was a challenge. And then, trying to pay the rent and not getting people in. Some nights we have a comedian come in, we have 5 people. And that didn't just hurt my pocket, it hurt me more that this comedian only had 4 or 5 people to entertain. But the professional's like, hey, I don't care if it's 2, we'll get cozy, I'll come sit at a table with them and entertain them, right? That's what professionals would do. So it was a lot of challenges in there, and then hiring again was a real challenge. So we finally got some people in. Things are kind of leveling off. And then the challenge of people feeling comfortable. Who all has been to a comedy club before? Not here, just somewhere else. Okay, so you know how tight it used to be in a comedy club. I mean, you're elbow to elbow. So I'm trying to talk to people in the community, in the industry, and and ask the question, will we ever go back to that? I don't know if people ever feel comfortable being that close again. Luckily, we have a really nice space over here where we can put tables and fit 200 people, almost like it is. But a lot of places, that's going to be a challenge. So, and then when the floodgates opened, it was hard to get certain comedians because everybody's booking now. Yeah. So I have a trip. I'm going to California. I always think that, all the booking agents are in California. And I always think that face-to-face is always better than over the phone. So I'm knocking on doors. Hey, I've been talking to you for the last 6 months. Hi. So, because we deserve good comedy here in Colorado Springs. We're the second largest city in the state. We shouldn't have to drive anywhere, So, yes.
All right, let's ask the impossible question. Rank top 5 comedians. Let's go.
I don't have. I've seen so many over time. I'll have to go back and I just personality-wise, Tommy Davidson, hands down, is one of the best people that I've ever met. Man, that's a tough one. I would want to say Dave Chappelle, but and I appreciate everything that he does, and we'll have him here as well. But it's just so many, I used to watch Lucille Ball, Phyllis Diller, Carol Burnett, those were just geniuses. I mean, they were great. So I have a lot. I can't nail down one. Anything else? Yeah.
Have you ever had Sam Johnson?
Sam Johnson?
He's amazing. He's incredible. He's inspirational.
Well, let me know. I'll get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know. And it's different now as well. It's a lot of media comedians, right? And so a club owner has to say, well, this guy is kind of funny, but he's not the traditional comedian. But he puts butts in seats, a lot of them. So we have to look at that now. I respect what they're trying to do, but I still respect that comedian that's been in the industry and working hard and doing clubs and doing bars and just really doing what he loves to do than a media guy that comes in and is more of an actor than a comedian. Yes.
What do we got to do to get Joe Rogan here?
So what's happening right now is that comedians tell other comedians, and everyone they're talking about here, except for the last person I had. I won't talk about it, but anyway, he's more of a movie star than a comedian. So I won't mention any names. Jeremy Piven's, but. Anyway, but they're talking, and I think that we will be able to get whoever we want here. Because again, everyone that leaves here says, hey, the place is beautiful, the city is beautiful, Eric is a great person, guy, whatever, and they feel comfortable, and they tell someone else, and they tell someone else. So I don't have to, after a while, I won't have to go through too many booking agents because I can go back to going directly to those comedians. So it's an opportunity, just like Dave Chappelle, just like a lot of the big names we can have here at the club. Yes.
So a question I have for you. So talking about like getting these big names and such, is there any comedians that, based on what you know about their acts, their content, what they talk about, are there any comedians that you go like, you know what, I really don't think they'd be a good fit for my club, even though they might be a big name?
I'm kind of learning that. Yeah, I'm kind of learning that as we go along. Some people that they sold out here, but I won't have them back because they just they kind of looked at Colorado Springs like, where is this place? And even though I love Cleveland, I'm from Cleveland. I got to talk about my city, and I have to pay you for that. You know what I mean? Because they all get paid to do a job. And that's how I look at it as a military guy. I pay you to do a job. I don't pay you to be a diva. So, but yeah, it is at least 2 or 3 right now that have been here, but I won't have them back, even though they sold out. Yeah.
All right, it's time for our super secret special question. Who would like the honor?
I'll do it.
Shayla.
What can we, as the Colorado Springs community, do to support you?
Just come out. Just even if it's not a big name, just come to a show. You know, come have a good time. Take somebody out. Tell somebody about it. Pass the word. This place is yes, it's my passion, but I also love this city. I've been here 20 years, so I'm still a Cleveland Browns fan now. Okay, let's not get that. Yeah, sorry. No, let's not get that. But I love what we do here. I love the people here. And I think it's a great place. So just tell someone about us and have them come in and catch a show. So, okay.
All righty, let's give this gentleman a standing round of applause because truly he has been a saving grace for the community and for all of us and giving us this space. And we are so glad to finally get you on our stage.
Thank you.
So here's this. And then also as the space sponsor, is there anything you want to say?
You know these are in the back. I can get these whenever.
Awesome.